Drummers I Like podcast, episode number 8. Hey everybody, welcome to the Drummers I Like podcast. This is episode number 8, and I'm your host, Richard Ducat, coming to you from Los Angeles. On the other line is my co-host, Kevin, coming to you from South Florida. What's up, Kevin? How you doing today?
What's going on, everybody? How are you doing, Richard?
I'm doing good, man. It's been one of those weeks, but I'm excited for today's guest, Steve Carey from the Color Morale, the drummer for the Color Morale, I might add. One of my frickin' favorite bands from growing up. It's like a frickin' honor to have this guy on. Today's a good show, though. We talk about a lot of stuff. We talk about his setup. We talk about his cymbal work. We get into a bunch of other stuff. Kevin, what else did we get into?
Yeah, we have some great topics to talk about with Steve, some of it, as you mentioned, and then, of course, talk about what he's doing with the Color Morale and some of his Warped Tour dates that he's got going on, and they came out with that new song, Walls, so we're going to talk about that, and, of course, always, his background kind of in drumming, as we always kind of try and get into with our guests to help build that context and that get in that comfort zone, so... it's going to be a good show, and we hope everybody will listen and enjoy.
Yeah, it's going to be really good, actually. I'm so excited. So seriously, actually, without any further ado, let's get this puppy going. What do you think?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Here we go, guys. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Drummers I Like podcast. We are super excited to have our guest today. His name's Steve Carey. You may know him from the band The Color Morale, signed to Fearless Records. Steve plays for DW, Zildjian, Remo, Vic Firth, Ultimate Ears, and I want to make sure I'm saying this right, Vratum.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it. Steve, Steve, what's up, man? How you doing today?
Doing well. How are you guys?
We are wonderful. We're doing good,
Awesome.
man.
It's a good day. It's a good day.
Yes, it's good. We finally made this happen.
I know. It took a while for scheduling with all the craziness of Warped Tour and our busy schedule. It's just had to find the right date, and here we are, ready to do it.
Yes, Kevin and I are no stranger to trying to make things happen, especially in last minute sense. So
Yeah.
we're like prepped for these kind of things.
Cool.
But
Very cool.
The way we normally start things, as you know, we like to kind of get you to talk about your upbringing in music, what led you to playing drums, what's kind of brought you to where you are now, which being one of the founders of Color Morale, an awesome band that everybody knows about, everybody's listening to you guys, got a lot of great stuff going on. We're just kind of really excited to hear about that story.
Oh, fun. Okay, I'm glad to talk to you about it. Oh, geez. Okay, upbringing. Well, my family is very much a musical family. It's not, I never had a situation of like I had to find music myself kind of thing. It was very much as soon as far back as I can remember, I'm hearing music in the house always. My mom, huge Motown fan. My dad, probably the biggest Beatles fanatic you've ever seen in your life.
Yes.
So
awesome.
So I've had that's like as early as you can get. I just remember, I'm trying to like, it's hard to think back. Just Motown and Beatles, and that's just every day. There's always in the house, somewhere in the house, there's music playing, and from an early age. My dad was a guitar player, is still a guitar player, and he was cool. He tried to get me to play guitar like around 2 or 3. Like he gave me a little plastic guitar and was like, "Hey, you want to be like your dad and play along to Beatles songs or Rolling Stones or name any of those classic rock bands?" And it's like, "Oh yeah, this is fun." And then I think someone had the bright idea to bust out some chopsticks from under the cupboard and just lay down some the typical lay down some pots and pans and see if he can hold a beat, or maybe see if he can find a beat in like a song playing through the stereo. And this is all like my parents telling me that how naturally it came to me, where it's just like, yeah, you just picked up the sticks and you found the beat real quick. And it's like, well, I guess from there they're like, well, maybe drums is the right way to go. And I think they pushed me to be a drummer because, well, especially my dad, because I think secretly he wanted someone to jam with. Like
Nothing
maybe,
wrong
like,
with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Later on in life,
Right.
maybe not when I'm like 3 years old or something like that, but like, so yeah, no, he I guess they decided drums was the way to go, and got my first little drum set. I think it was a one of those like Toys R Us, like really thin, like almost like paper, like drum heads or something like that, for real beginners. And yeah, and then started with that, and from there on, once I got that drum set, my dad just had a heyday. Just every single record or CD that he had, he popped sucker into the stereo, and we would play every single day. But it wasn't anything crazy. It was always like, when you think back to like the 60s, it was really simple, Beatles, really simple beats, Rolling Stones.
That's set a great foundation, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Having that stuff really kind of help you develop a good solid backbeat, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, those drummers are iconic. Ringo Starr and remind me of the Rolling Stones drummer.
Charlie Watts.
Yeah, they're iconic for the way, like, they were never insanely flashy, but they could keep the best backbeat. They were like, They were solid. So me learning to that, I was just like, this is perfect. And he loved it. He absolutely loved getting to play every day, and I loved it too. I loved it so much. And so yeah, that's kind of like how the drums thing just so happened. He didn't force me to be a drummer. It was just try things out, and then we'll see what naturally goes. Yeah, exactly. So absolutely. The drums thing came naturally to me, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. Those days are great. And then I eventually graduated to like an actual drum set when I was I would say like 5 or 6 years old. They just found just random drums in a garage sale for like $75, and they were like, okay, these actually have real drum heads on them. They bought me an actual pair of like wooden drumsticks that were like bigger than my arm, because I'm like 5 years old. Yeah. and like you see like old pictures. I have like old pictures of me, or I've posted them online, and just everything is way too big. Like the seat, I'm literally standing up trying to play drums, and like cymbals are just way over my head. It looks ridiculous, but I eventually.
It's kind of like the big kids' clothes. They're like, oh, he'll grow into them.
That's exactly what it is, and that's what eventually happened. Is I grew into that, and it was always classic rock. But yeah, no, my mom was really into Motown, and so was my dad. So I got to. Jam out to lots of Temptations, Stevie Wonder, stuff that was a little bit more funkier, in that sense. It's still basic, for the most part, it's basically like backbeat music, nothing, just solid, but at the same time, you had a little flair to it, you know what I'm saying? So that kind of, I started to, okay, maybe instead of just like a simple beat, it's like a little bit groove. It actually, my groove, which I hold dearly today with how I play with the Color Morale, I have my mom and my dad to thank, because they showed me Motown music at an early age, and that's where I started developing a style of like, you don't always have to be so cut and dry. It's, depending on the music that you're playing, it's important to be solid, but flare out a little bit, like add some groove. That's where your personality shines through in your drumming. So I got to learn that at a pretty young age too. So sure. Yeah, those are the early years, very early years.
Looks like you covered it. Go ahead, Kevin.
I was just going to say, so I mean, from there, basically, I'm sure you just kind of, did you take formal lessons kind of through the elementary school ages, or were you able to start music like through school pretty early, or how did that kind of work out?
Yeah, through elementary school, middle school, and even into high school, I was in the conventional, you're like your typical band classes.
Sure.
We did that, and then I also did I would also do jazz band. Jazz band didn't happen until they don't offer that, at least in my elementary school, but jazz band happened middle school and high school for me. Okay. So as well as marching band. Unfortunately, our high school and our middle school weren't. It's like the one regret not regret, but like the one thing that was kind of a bummer later on in life. It's like our high school, our middle school didn't embrace the whole marching band thing.
Okay.
Like they would kind of we would do marching band, but they didn't have a drum line. So I never got to learn drumline, unfortunately.
Okay.
And doing all the crazy stick tricks, or teaching us how to do traditional grip and all that good stuff. I had to do that all on my own, and it was a bummer, but it was okay. We still had your regular conventional concert band. Sure. And then jazz band happened, and that just blew my mind when I learned jazz music. I loved it so much that going into high school, I think my parents knew that I had a special knack for drumming, and that I could actually become something with that skill. So they signed me up for private drum lessons, and with a guy out of my hometown in Rockford, Illinois. His name was Jack Brand, and he's I'm trying to think of all the old jazz cats that he played with, but I can't remember. He's an older session guy that played around Chicago and around the Midwest area. But they signed me up for jazz lessons, but it wasn't only jazz. Basically, they told him, we want you to teach him everything but rock. So because it was rock is so easy. Rock, anyone can pick it up, but to just transcribe or write or be able to write music. We did jazz. I did fusion, funk, Latin, and everything else in between. And I did that for 4 years. I did that in my entire high school length of me being in high school for those 4 years. And I have so much thanks to my parents and my Jack Brand, that drum teacher, for teaching me all those skills. I got to learn how to write music. I got to learn every single other genre besides rock, and
right.
That really, really opened my eyes to just knowing that this was something that I wanted to do full time. Eventually, crossing my fingers at the time in high school. I can play in a band and cool and everything like that, but ultimately, that was the moment I was like, drumming is the thing I should be doing for the rest of my life. This is the natural thing that I feel most comfortable, stress-free. You could give me the hardest rudiment in the world. Everyone's just throwing their sticks down, screw this, I can't do it. But I'm this is the hardest thing in the world, but I will do whatever it takes to learn this. That was just a natural feeling that I had. And I developed that through those 4 years of high school, where I was doing jazz band at school, concert band at school, marching band, and doing private drum lessons. And those were really, really good years of learning who I was as a person and what I wanted to do in life. So, sure. Yeah, it's a lot.
Oh, that's great. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, that's what you want to hear, and the different styles. I mean, even me now, I've primarily always been a rock drummer, and always kind of for a long time into heavy stuff. But now going back, it's and trying to learn more jazz chops, and really even more so, what's intrigued me is Latin stuff, and getting into some of the Cuban jazz and some of the all the different samba stuff, and it's so interesting, and it's so, like you say, it's so different from rock.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got such a nice feel to it. It makes you move your hips. It makes you start moving. So it's just that's a great genre for anybody, any drummer to definitely get more into Latin stuff. I mean, it'll definitely transform your drumming and open up new doors for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, all those genres besides rock that I learned helped me out so much when I started playing in bands during the high school years, and even going on after high school into college / just living life outside of school with the band, the Color Morale. It's helped me out so much later in life, because I take all those genres that I learned at an early age, and drove those rhythms into my head, that now it's just like muscle memory every time. But I still have books and stuff like that from that. And what I'll do is, like, when we're writing music nowadays, it's like, okay, Color Morale falls into metal, falls into hardcore rock, whatever you want to call it. But what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do that makes me stand out from the crowd? And I go back to those books all the time, and I'm like looking at these funk charts, or like you say, like Cuban, or like any of those Afro beats, or anything like that. And I'm like playing along to them, like, what would be sick if I turned this like 6/8 7/4 thing into like a breakdown or something crazy like that. And I'll bring it to like a band practice, and I'll jam it, and they're like, what the hell are you doing? It's like, it sounds sick, it's like heavy, but like you're doing like weird accents, you're like replacing snare drums where kicks should be, and like it's you would never believe where I got this rhythm from. Not like I won't copy it for like verbatim, but it would be like
you use that as ideas.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like you'll never guess where the reference came from. It's like a freaking Afrobeat, like 20-year-old chart that was given to me like 10 years ago, and I like later on took it and like somehow turned it into a freaking breakdown. Yeah, it's pretty funny, but I mean, those are the really good things that came out of dedication and all that time I spent into my craft of being a drummer and artist, a creative performing artist. And it's not glamorous. It's not like everyone's going out to hang out and I'm like in my room playing drums, because I have to learn this stuff for like a drum lesson that's going to happen, or else like my instructor is going to be really mad. It's like,
I don't want that confrontation.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I took a lot of flack for it, because people would be like, man, you're really into this. It's like, you don't go out a lot or like anything like that. It's like, yeah, it's just, I'm really passionate about my drums, and I want to be the best possible version of myself, and you have to put in the time, you have to put in the effort to get to that point. But yeah, it definitely helped later on in life, for sure.
Absolutely. That's very cool. So now I'd have to say, kind of, that was all through your high school. Now, did you not start kind of getting into doing the Color Morale and doing your own kind of original music until after high school, or did that kind of come throughout high school too?
Well, it came. The Color Morale started out when about a year out of high school, but I was in a bunch of local bands throughout middle school and high school.
Okay.
It started out a lot of pop punk stuff, because I'm 27 now. So if you think back to, I don't know how old you guys are, but if you think back to 1999, and you think about pop punk, there's one band that comes to mind, at least to me, and that's Blink-182.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
or like Sum 41 or New Found Glory or Green Day, like the mecca of pop punk, like came out the year I was like 14 years old, going into high school. So that when like What's My Age Again hit the scene on MTV, TRL, Carson Daly, all that all that funny stuff.
Watch it every day.
It was like it was like the perfect age for me to be like, well, who am I seeing behind the drum set right now? Who is this mohawk tattooed dude? And I'm like, okay, this guy's named Travis Barker, and I officially want to be him. And I officially need to be in a band that sounds exactly like Blink-182.
It was
Me and so many other people felt like that.
It was newfound glory for me.
Nice. Yeah, exactly. I mean, they were on TRL and all that stuff at the exact same time. Yeah, but where was I getting with this? Oh, yeah. So that's where kind of like bands started, me being local bands and playing my own music. It started, okay, let's just start pop punk bands and let's just sing the dumbest lyrics with like the fastest kick, the fastest beats, punk beats. And yeah, that was around like end of middle school, going into high school. So we all just wanted to be Tom DeLonge, Travis Barker, Mark Hoppus, and then the pop punk thing happened for a while, and then another band came onto the scene that changed everything, and it has to do with screamo back then, or you want to call it metalcore now. Under Oath happened. Then everyone was like, I'm still a pop punk kid at heart, but okay, there's this screaming thing happen, and there's double bass. And it's just like, I need to find a double bass pedal. So I eventually got a double bass pedal, and then all of my pop punk bands slowly faded away, and then all of a sudden everyone's starting like a screamo band, which I'm saying screamo because that they don't really say that anymore. I think
you're right. Yeah.
It's weird how that name kind of tinkered away, even though it's still kind of all. I mean, it's screaming and singing, but we just don't use that. It's like nostalgic to that time period of like when Under Oath started, and like I think like something like 2004 or 2006. We only Chasing Safety and Define the Great Line, and that's when we started. That's where I met Garrett Rapp, and Garrett is the lead singer of the Color Morale, who is still the lead singer. Like me and him are the original people of the Color Morale, and him and I go back all the way to that local band that I'm saying we started. It was called The Killer Apathy, so very, killer and apathy, and it's all emotional, just like the, like
I'm sure. I definitely remember playing with several bands that had names very similar to like that.
Oh yeah, and got the hair that goes over the one eye.
Yep, I had that.
Oh sure, yeah. And
I kind of came from more of the metal scene kind of into that. I'm a little bit older than you. I'll be 32 here in this Sunday.
Yeah.
But so I kind of came. I didn't come up quite the same way. I kind of came through straight, listening to Slayer and Pantera and all this stuff. So we used to kind of sit back and be like, oh, there's the scene kids.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, me and Kevin are from the same town, and I was the kid with the hair over the eye with the blonde streak in it.
Yeah, that's true.
I was wearing girl pants, and
is it
Kevin's band was.
Are you younger?
I'm actually 28, so I'm your age. Yeah.
Yeah, you're a year older than me, so that it almost kind of it has so much to do with age. It really does.
Yep,
it really does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Kevin's lead singer kicking me halfway across a little hardcore beat down was going down, and I was running around trying to do my little dance moves, and I get a 265 pound foot to the chest.
Oh my god!
He was a really big dude too. Yeah, that was.
He was nice about it, but that was crazy.
When scenes collide, man. It was always dangerous back in the day when you would mix. Promoters would try to mix genres. It's like, oh, dude, you're gonna get some people. Like the big tough guys are gonna be.
See, and that's who this guy was.
People.
This was a big tough guy. Is who he was referring to. So
he was a teddy bear.
He was totally that mold. So.
Oh my God! Oh, those great days. It's nostalgic to think about, and it's so ridiculous how we looked, too. So it's just like, Oh my God!
I don't
Why
know how I
did we
fit
do
into those
that?
pants.
Dude, you know what? I am one of the only ones from back then that didn't. I actually didn't. I have never worn girl pants before. So for some reason, the trend started at my face with the hair and everything, but it ended there. I didn't wear the pants. I don't know why. Everyone else did it, but yeah, I didn't go that far.
It didn't look really comfortable, so
Exactly. Well, it's funny now because everyone wears skinny jeans now.
That is
It's
right.
like I couldn't find Levi 510 skinny jeans like at like 10 years ago in 2005, 2006. Now it's like
That's all
now
they sell.
everyone wears skinny jeans. It's like accepted.
Everything. I have a 2-year-old, and I can go into H&M, or I can go into Baby Gap, and they have skinny jeans for him too.
Oh my God. Oh, the
That's
trend setting at a young age. There we go.
Yeah, I got him. Whatever. He wears
Yeah.
them.
That's the most fly kid in all of class. You know that for sure.
He's my little twin. It's adorable.
That's awesome. That's great.
We're getting a little off topic here, aren't we? Yeah, we're turning this into the fashion hour with drummers I like.
Right now, it's just reminiscing of all the ridiculousness. But oh geez, let's see. Okay, so we're going on to like the 04, 05, 06 era of screamo and underoath, and double bass starts coming in there and screaming and breakdowns, and it's just like, oh shit, like let's start that band. It's like this is now our favorite type of music, and I personally loved it because that stuff, it wasn't necessarily underoath that got me into double bass playing. It was actually bands like Thrice. I'm even thinking about like old metal bands, older metal bands from that scene, which would be like, let's see, like Atreyu, the Curse era, Avenged Sevenfold. I'm trying to think of, is it Unholy Confessions or
I don't know what.
It's Avenged Sevenfold album that came out in like 2003.
I'll tell you right now.
It's got a lot of really popular songs, but like those are like the albums that like I was starting hearing double bass, and I was just like, oh, this is something new and exciting. I need to learn. Because
the Rev was tearing it up through that era.
Oh yes, he was. So. Yes, sir, he was. He was like one of my favorite drummers when it came to double bass. He was badass.
It was just crazy.
Was it Waking the Fallen?
Waking the Fallen, I believe that is it. Yep. I didn't know if that was a song title or an album title, but yeah, I think it's during that. And so yeah, Thrice was doing a lot of that. Yeah, obviously Aaron Gillespie with Under Oath. Even 2006 release, or was that 2005 for August Burns Red? Thrill Seeker, when the first August Burns Red.
August Burns Red, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
that was like
Matt Greiner.
Dude, like
math metal.
That was the first time I heard like syncopated, like really technical double bass, like rhythms that's like, what is this, like a freaking math equation where I have to like write it down?
Remember this?
like it's like 1 E and a 2 E 4, and like digga, and then there's like an extra digga at the end, and then like that's the breakdown. I'm like, what the fuck?
Where does it start? Where does it end?
Yeah, exactly. So that like all that started happening in like the mid 2000s. And yeah, I picked up a double bass. And I was like, well, here's a new venture. And I remember like talking to my old jazz instructor, and he's just, he's like 50 years old jazz cat. And like, he's like, double bass. He's like, no. I'm like, yes. You don't want to teach me it. That's fine. I'm going to go home and I'm going to listen to Under Oath and August Burns Red, and I'm going to learn that damn double bass. And I eventually did. He was like, okay, we'll stick to jazz charts here. I'm like, that's fine. I want to learn as much as possible, but yeah, I'm doing double bass. So yeah, then eventually, that's where I met Garrett, and we started the Killer Apathy. Like I mentioned, that was like our local band success. Like, we like actually helped make a music scene in Rockford, Illinois, where we're from. had these big shows, and yeah, we were doing that, and that's where it was up until about 2008, I want to say, when I was about to graduate high school. I graduated in 07, so I had already graduated, and we wanted to start fresh. And by that time, a lot of people were deciding, since we're out of high school or kind of a little bit older, maybe music isn't what we want to do. So a lot of people left that local band. And the people that were dedicated stayed, and that's how we transitioned into the Color Morale. So this brings us up to 2008, I believe.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
here we are now, still a band somehow.
Yeah, that's awesome. And now most of the members, is it the kind of those core members from when that kicked off in 08?
It is actually just us. It's Garrett Rapp and I are the original members.
Okay.
Everyone else currently in 2016, everyone's been in the band for about 3 years now as a core unit.
Excellent.
But we've been through quite a number of members throughout the years. And that's simply just from people have kids, obviously they want to stop doing that, or they get married and want to focus on something that can secure a family and make money,
absolutely.
more money than what we do.
Yeah,
it's totally understandable,
Absolutely,
so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, what, and I tell people a lot of times too, it's being in a band sometimes it's like managing, four or five other girlfriends sometimes, everybody's got their own personality, and, and you got to know how to handle each person just right, and.
Yeah,
and it's almost like a human relations puzzle. You know what I mean? You got to know how to treat each person, and things don't always go perfect. So.
Oh no, this is way. There's one thing I've learned is this is way harder than any girlfriend anyone will ever have in their life.
That's true. That is true.
Try being in a band with 4 other dudes and trying to keep everyone's headspace in a positive, optimistic mindset of. Happy, good luck. It's so hard. It's taken so many years to find the right members with the right mindset, that you can get along and live with the most naturally, because it's as much as it's being able to write and play music with them, you have to live with them. You have to be okay with just every day waking up every morning and being like, yo, dude, what's up? And or if that person pisses you off just by simply you looking at them, it's just okay, this isn't gonna work. We're gonna have to break up or something like that. But no, it's a good group of guys now. It's taken many years to get to that point, but we're 3 years into this current lineup, and we're stronger than ever. So we're pretty happy with these guys.
You guys are definitely heading in the right direction, and it's awesome to see. So it's cool to kind of hear that story and kind of how you've gotten, up to this point.
Yeah, man.
That's very cool. That's very cool. So I know another thing that we wanted to get into as well was is your awesome setup that you're using right now. I know you are using DWs, and the kit itself has really caught my eye. It's a beautiful kit.
Oh, really, cool, man. Thank you for commenting. That kit took so long to figure out all the specifics on how it looks and everything like that. So that means a lot that you actually really dig it, because I spent a lot of work on that.
No, absolutely. And that's got, I've seen DW kind of do that before, where they stretch the grain kind of at an angle like that. They have a name for it, don't they?
It's a twisted grain. It's just simple. It's twisted grain. Yeah, just twisted. Yeah. I don't know how the hell they do it. I'm sure there's a video on YouTube. Well, maybe there isn't a video on YouTube. Who knows? Maybe they want to keep that secret. But, yeah.
You don't know how this happens, but it just does.
It just
we
does.
We hit it with our DW
awesome.
Magic Wand, and poof.
Voila.
Exactly. No, I had to get that. When I saw that option, I was just like, yeah, immediately. That it just allows more popping, more eye candy. It's because it's the kit that I have it's not like a glittery. I can't say. It's like a glitter sparkle kit that pops out at you. It's really subtle. It's wood based and everything like that. So I was just like, I got to figure out more ways to make people do like a 180 with their head being like, okay, I see that's wood, but how the hell is it twisted? So yeah, I think they nailed it pretty much on the head with that one.
Yeah, they do some amazing finishes just in general, but some of those twisted grain things they do is just really neat, really cool. Now,
Yes,
now your drums, are they maple shells?
They are cherry shells, actually.
Cherry.
This is the first cherry shell kit that I've ever owned, and that was just simply I blatantly asked him, "Is like, I've made custom kits before. I have had maple my entire life. I just want the thickest, punchiest wood that you can possibly have available." And they were like immediately like, cherry is the way to go. And I was just like, I don't care what price you give me, I'm getting cherry. And I'm so glad I did, because ever since I got it, which was less than a year ago, that kit is not even a year old. Everyone's just like, there's something about this kit. These toms sound way thicker than normal. I'm like, I'm telling you, cherry is the way to go. Yeah.
The cherry. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like I said, it's a beautiful kit. And then and your Zildjian cymbal setup is pretty rad too. I like the reso crashes a lot, and I'm really intrigued by your ride cymbal.
Okay.
It's very cool.
I'm trying to think, because I have a set of A's. I have 3 sets of Zildjian that I roll with. I have a whole thing of A customs, whole thing of K customs, and I think I have like some other A's and some other just regular K's in there. I'm trying to think of the ride you'd be referring to. Is it the 20th anniversary?
Yes, that is
thin?
the one. That is the one. That's the ride.
Oh, I'll go down in history as like the biggest just promoter of that cymbal. Seriously, Zildjian needs to hire me to promote that cymbal alone, because I tell everyone, it's like, if you're, it's not for everyone, but if you're not a pinger, and obviously, like, if you're not using your bell a lot, or you're just if you're not tapping on the ride cymbal, basically, if you're in our genre of music and you're doing a lot of crashing, basically everything's pretty much 100% velocity, and you don't want a really washy ride. That 20th anniversary is like the best crash ride I've ever played in existence. And I used to be with Sabian. I've played so many of my friends' Meinl cymbals, and I'm like, nope, still 20th anniversary is the way to go. That thing rules so hard.
Well, I mean, like I said, I was immediately drawn to it. I mean, like I said, playing metal, hardcore, or metalcore, whatever you want to call that style of music. I crash into my ride a lot, and it's important. If you have something that's way too ridey, it never has the right wash.
Right.
And I was listening to that thing. It has a great wash and just kind of fills that spot perfectly.
Yeah,
so I was definitely intrigued with that. And and say what that cymbal was again. It's the A Custom 20th.
A Custom, I think it is A Custom. A Custom 20th anniversary medium thin ride. I think it's ride. Yeah, it's not considered. It doesn't say. I'm pretty sure it's medium thin ride. So it still says ride, but don't be fooled. It is definitely the ultimate crash ride.
That's pretty cool. Well, and see, crash ride is always like that spot where, I mean, it's like I've met very few guys that really like a crash ride, because a lot of times it's like with a crash ride, you try and ride on it and it doesn't sound good at all, and then you try and crash into it and it doesn't sound good at all. So it's kind of cool that they've been able to kind of really bridge that gap, because that's, like I said, playing that heavy, and when you're just kind of using the wash for those cymbals to kind of lead those big parts, and you want all that wash, it's got to be there. I've always been lucky. I use a Peisty 2002 ride, and it does a pretty darn good job of doing that. But it's still, to me that would be one of the ultimate sounds.
Yeah, absolutely. It's what I like to call the shit. So it's awesome. It's an awesome ride, and I don't always use it for other genres. Like if I'm doing projects with like hip hop, or like if I'm doing like any other type of genres, I won't do that. I'll do something that actually has like a ride, or like actual ping to it that's a little heavier. But But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's kind of like a specialist cymbal kind of.
it really is to the genre. But if you want to go balls to the wall, that is definitely the one to go to.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. But I mean, those cymbals in general kind of lead into my next thing that I wanted to talk to you about for sure was just the way you use your cymbals. I've just kind of going through a lot of your videos, and whether it's playing with the color morale or just kind of doing your groove based stuff where you're just kind of having fun by yourself on the kit.
Mm-hmm.
You really play melodically on the cymbals. And is there anything you kind of focused on in doing that, or is there something you look for to help you kind of get that intricate cymbal work in there? Or?
That's awesome that you noticed that. I really do try to pay as much attention as I possibly can with my cymbal work, with how I hit the cymbals. It's all about accenting to me, and yeah, that's so cool. That's so cool that you noticed that. Not a lot of people ever say you're doing something with cymbals. What are you doing? Yeah. Not a lot of people say that, so thank you.
Absolutely.
But
I picked up on it right away. I said, I just it's like you're kind of following, like I said, when I saw it with the color morale, it was kind of, it seemed like you made a lot of vocal accents, but it kind of would almost follow a melodic kind of feel.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. Whether it's a vocal rhythm or an accent on if someone's playing a riff and there's some part of the riff where I think that's the hook of it or that needs a little extra push, that's where I'll swing my left arm over to the left crash, or I'll bring it over. I do double. I have two Chinas on my right side. It's just a regular conventional 18-inch, and then I have a little mini China that I do for accenting. But no, I really try to be as musical as possible with my playing in the color morale, just to accent just all the highlighted points in my mind with what's going to be the catchiest to the listener. So if that's a way, if Garrett's singing a vocal line and one of the words kind of goes up in pitch, or he really is trying to nail a certain word of a phrase that he's saying in whatever vocal line in a song, he's trying to punch that into punch the point, and I'm trying to help him with that. So I'll throw in a really big crash, or I'll make sure to fill into some type of thing that helps that out. So yeah, I really try to pay attention to that, and that's just simply being just trying to be as musical as possible. You don't want to overclutter. You don't want to do too much. You don't want to play busy and then all of a sudden, if you're watching a band, the main focus should be the vocalist with the melody and all that good stuff. And then if you have your drummer in the background just filling at 1,000,000 miles per hour, people are going to be like, "What? Wait,
what's he doing?
This guy thinks he's the shit, and he's soloing over everything." It's that's not the point of being in a band. At least to me, it's just I understand my role as a drummer. I provide the backbone, the backbeat. For everyone else, I'm the foundation for everyone else to work off of. But if it makes musical sense, I will branch out a little bit, kind of come into the forefront. But it's to help. But it's to help either the music, if the music's just playing without the vocals, or if it's the vocals, he wants to nail a certain phrase or a word or a couple words. I want to be able to help him out, just so it's the best sonic performance for the listener. So yeah, that's how I kind of view it.
Absolutely. Well, like I said, you're doing a good job, because it jumped right out of me, and I thought it was really cool.
It looks
really
natural too, man. You look very natural when you play. I mean, I'm we're having this nice chat, and I'm gonna admit guilt here. I'm kind of sitting here watching some more videos of you that I haven't seen before, and you just have so much fun playing.
Thanks, man.
It just makes me want to play drums right now. So,
dude, that's so sick. That's another thing. You guys are so cool. It's such a cool thing to hear. That to me is the best thing anyone could possibly say. I could write this. I could write the sickest drum fill ever, like, or like the sickest beat ever. It's like, cool, awesome, whoop-de-doo, someone's just going to write a better drum part, you know, in a day or two. But if my playing, if someone that can watch my playing and like get like having either an adrenaline rush or like goosebumps or like feel good or just like actually motivates them to be like, fuck yeah, this guy, it looks fun to play the drums, I want to go play the drums. That's like, I can die happy. That's like the coolest thing to me. That's
awesome.
like the ultimate goal, really, is to inspire and motivate kids to pick up the drumsticks, and get behind a kit and freaking have fun. Because I found internal happiness through drums. Like as soon as the band started kicking off and I said, screw you, college, and I'm going to go and be a starving artist for the rest of my life. It's like, you know, as much as it was a struggle for me, these years of being in a band have been the happiest I've ever been. And that's simply because I'm doing something I'm naturally motivated to do. I'm so thankful that every day I get to wake up and immediately think about drums. Like that is my day. I wake up and I'm like, okay, here's a new day. What am I going to do? I don't know. Go on YouTube, watch YouTube tutorials about something. I'll go to my kit, change my drum heads. Like my day revolves around drums, and that makes me so happy. So when I get on stage and you see me up there making the dumbest faces or like looking like I'm just like, I look ridiculous, but that's me in the purest sense of happiness. Like I'm happy up there. I'm enjoying what I'm doing, and I want to inspire other people to feel that same way with that instrument as well. So that's awesome. It's awesome you said that.
It's you're, like I said, you're doing a great job, and I think, you know, we're lucky to be drummers and in the drum community, because the drum community is just it's great. It's a great community, and everybody wants to help each other.
Yeah.
And, there's not, you know, I mean, you know, sure, you're going to have some guys that might have some ego trips, but for the most part, you know, drummers just kind of always get along with other drummers. So
yeah, absolutely.
It's cool to, you know, younger guys will be able to tune into you here and, you know, and hear kind of what you have to say about that, and be able to take inspiration from that, and know that, you know, it might not be the easiest thing to do, but if it's something that you truly have a love and passion for, you can have a lot of fun doing it, and feel very full in your life.
Yeah, that's the ultimate goal, isn't it? Just to live the most stress-free you can possibly be, and try to be the happiest you can possibly be. You can't be totally, you know, no one can be perfect at any moment in their life. You have to just keep trying and finding ways to motivate yourself to find internal happiness. So yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. This is a great conversation so far.
Yeah, agreed. And you know, we can all ask ourselves the universal question: have you ever seen a drummer sitting on a drum set that wasn't smiling?
Right. That's true.
The answer is no.
Yeah, no, or yes, because they're really introverted. Because I have seen drummers that are just like, they'll sit up there and just completely straight faced, and then like after that, I've had this happen where like after says like, dude, I'm like, you okay right now, man? He's like, yeah, no, I'm fine. I'm like, oh, you just really don't like to show emotion. So
Yeah.
you might see it on face value. Some people are like kind of like straight faced, but no, I'm a firm believer that if you see someone like that, don't worry, they're having fun. If that's what they're doing, if they're up there doing it, they're having fun. Some people are introverts though, and don't like to show it, which it's fine. I mean, some people are like, I don't like doing crazy like face, like I make the stupidest faces in the world if I like open my mouth. So I like try to like close my mouth and I look mad when I play. It's like, dude, just let it out. Look at me. Take me for example. I look like the biggest city out there. I'm like, half of the time I'm just making faces at my own band members or like photographers, like stupid faces. Like
Yeah, sure.
People will see that and they recognize like pure happy, like happy. If you see someone enjoying themselves, hopefully you'll enjoy the experience more. At least that's how I've that's how I do it. If I go to a show and I see a drummer, going batshit crazy, even if I don't even like the band or I don't know who they are, I'm still gonna leave the concert being like, fuck yeah, man. Like I may not be into that or whatever, but props to that guy and props to that band for just seeming like they actually care what they're doing on stage, So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
That's awesome, man. This conversation has been very fun so far, and I'm glad Kevin really got those questions. What I'm kind of anxious to get into was kind of talking a little bit more about Color Morale. I know you are about to release a new album. I think it's August 19th, if I got that date right.
Yep, that's right.
And you put out a new song called The Wall. Me and Kevin just listened to it before we started this thing up, man. It is sick. It sounds like, you hear bands grow up more and progress more and become, I wouldn't say an adult, not that you weren't adults before, but there's just a certain way that a band that really takes the time to write their music and work on their sound develops over time. And it just really sounds like the culmination of all the years of hard work coming together to put some really good music out. The best you ever have.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you very much for those words, man. Seriously, that's so kind of you to say. Yeah, that song, Walls, that just came out literally today. Today we were just talking about this earlier on the introduction, how this is like fate that we have this conversation the same day as the actual song comes out. So it's great because now I don't have to be like, I'll have to wait and see for that. We can't talk about it. It's like, hell no, I'll talk about it as much as you want me to talk about it.
And it's Walls. I make sure, let me say that, reset that.
Yeah,
I said The Wall before, but it's Walls. Just so everybody knows.
It's Walls. Yeah, just Walls. Isn't that Pink Floyd?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And Game of Thrones. I don't know.
Or that. Or
that.
We're going to be doing either a cover of Pink Floyd, or it's funny because another really popular song that's called Walls is Emery. Do you guys know the band Emery?
Oh, I love Emery. My wife's favorite band.
Yeah, you know the song Walls by Emery.
That was when they were the heavy days.
I know. So that we've been getting a lot of comments today about that. It's like everyone's like, I thought you guys were like covering Emery. It's like, no, this is our own song. It's our own thing. It's been so many years since that song came out, and just decided to call it Walls. But
after all, it's just a song title.
Yeah, right.
We can call it the same thing. It's okay.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, different song, different genre-esque kind of. It's all right. But back to your original question about Walls. That song is, I guess this whole record is, the mindset going into this record compared to like the early ones was just like really, I mean, it's our fifth record as the Color Morale. That in itself, in a scene that in 2016 in the scene these days, it's pretty crazy to think, because people's attention spans are, it seems like they're dwindling every year. More social media, more content, like people's attention span goes crazy. So bands don't really seem to make it past, maybe like a 3 record deal or anything like that. But we're on number 5. So this time around, it was just like, it's time to put, the big boy pants on and really, really think about like songwriting, thinking about like, it's not about, like back in the day when we were writing our first record, We All Have Demons, that came out in like 2009. Our mindsets were like, let's just try to write like the sickest riff, sickest, craziest scream, the sickest drum beat. It's because we were trying to like put a foot in the door and be like, hey, we're we're a group of kids from Illinois that can actually attempt to be a part of your scene. Like, check us out. It was all kind of like face value, like, hey, we can play, let us be on your tour kind of thing. Now
we really had something to prove, so to speak.
Yes, no, exactly. And now we've led up to record number 5. We're all a lot older than we were back in 2008, and now it's just like, okay, we're professional musicians, we do this for a living. Let's try to really focus and take the necessary time, which was key. We took basically almost a half a year to a year to write this album. Every single album before this, it's always been like, either right in the studio or right like a month before going into the studio. So it's just like cross your fingers that hopefully you have a couple good songs that could be singles or be pushed, to whatever outlet, radio or music videos and stuff like that. But this time we're like, we have to make sure that every single song is something that could stand on its own. There's no more room for filler tracks, no more room for, let's just throw it on because we have nothing else to do. It's like we spent a year really making sure these songs could really translate to kids and be as catchy as humanly possible. Walls we picked that song first to release because it's a very anthematic song. It's not the craziest musically, which kind of I think will kind of throw people off. It's like almost like, well, they scaled back musically, so they must have lost that touch. It's like, no,
I didn't get that vibe.
Yeah, okay, well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yes. But it is funny because Walls is actually, I don't know if this is not really a technical term, but it's not. We have create more technical stuff in the album, but this one we really focused on melody. Melody is king out of everything. So it's like the drums don't have to be insane. The chord progressions, the songwriting doesn't have to be we don't have to be like a Between the Buried and Me and like shove a million notes. No offense to them, they're amazing and their music's awesome. But it's like we're focusing.
You're not prog. You're not a prog band.
Yeah, we're focusing on melody, and that's why we put Walls out first, because we felt like that had one of the biggest choruses on the record, and in the anthematic setting. And since we're on Warped Tour now and we released it the day before Warped Tour, we're obviously playing it live, so we're just trying to get a single out there that a lot of people can hear it once. It's one of those things. It's like kind of like the pop radio sensibility. It's like you pick any song on the radio, like from like Katy Perry or like name any of those types of artists. It's just like you hear it once and later in the day it's like, I can't get this damn song out of my head. It's because you have those people that write this music that are just like, what is the catchiest thing? What group of chords can we mesh together that makes it stick into people's head the best? And that was the best representation we could put out, which was Walls. So hopefully that translates well. Hopefully people listen to it. Hopefully people will hum it later on at night when they're trying to go to sleep, and then like, oh shit, I still have that Colin Morale song stuck in my head or something like that.
It'll become the ultimate earworm.
Yeah, I know.
Tonight it's gonna be that ending riff for me. That one's gonna be stuck in my head.
Yeah, that's another good point. Even the guitar lines, like it was one of those things where it's like we went through so many like guitar riffs where it's just like we were doing all this like crazy stuff. It's like just think smarter, not harder is like a big thing that we kept reminding ourselves for this song. It's just like, what is a riff that's gonna stick? What's something that like you don't have to be expert level at guitar playing to like be able to pick it up. There's it's just that's how we viewed it. So that's awesome that you noticed that guitar riff, because we actually tried really hard to try to get like the catchiest riff going.
It worked.
Yeah, there we go.
For me, it worked.
That's awesome. You're the first person to critique it to me personally, so that's great. You're my first reviewer.
Bam, live for all the listeners.
Drummers I Like approves.
Yeah, all right. I'm put that. We're gonna make a sticker. We're gonna put it on the album.
Yeah,
Drummers I Like approved.
That's awesome, man. So it's awesome to hear that you guys really put all that time into that album and have really spent a lot of time. It's just sounds like you were very meticulous about everything, and I think Kevin and I can both, from experience, say that that's really what it takes to stand out and to really put something out that I think is meaningful and represents everything that you are. And it's really cool. I can't wait to see you guys play it at Warped, which I think that me and Kevin will both be at both Warped in LA and Warped in Florida. So we're definitely going to come watch you play, which is what I wanted to ask about. Are you how? So I know it's what, day 2 for Warped Tour right now.
Day negative. It's day 0 right
I
now.
was going to say it starts tomorrow. Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I imagine you are stoked for that. And you were telling me earlier they don't give you the set list till every morning, right? They're still doing it like that?
Yep, still doing that at 10 a.m. every single morning. That's when you find out what time you're going to be playing. Yeah.
Lovely. That's lovely. That's cool, man. I imagine you guys are excited, though. This isn't your first Warped Tour, is it?
This is actually our second. Our first one was 2014, so 2 years ago.
Cool.
Excellent.
Cool.
Excellent.
I know from experience that, besides all the hard work, Warped Tour is like one big summer camp, so I can imagine you're excited.
Oh, yeah. But besides the heat, which you get used to after a week into it, it's just so much fun. It's ridiculous how many friends you can pack into one area, because we all tour. I mean, we've been doing the Color Morale's been doing it for 7 years, so we've toured with many bands, and so every time we do Warped Tour, which this is now our second, it's just like everyone congregates, and we play for half an hour, and we might do signings and stuff like that. But there's so many more hours of the day after that just to hang out and bro down and play games like, bags or like cornhole, can jam. People bring out, if you want to weight lift, you would go to the gym. It's just like you just hang out with like your best friends all summer, drink beer if you're into that, do whatever. It's just one big hang fest. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So awesome.
That's super cool.
I definitely look forward to checking you out at Warped Tour and kind of seeing that set close up. That's for sure. And you'll get to come down. I'm in Florida. I'll be hopefully at the Orlando show at Tinker Field. So get to enjoy some of the lovely Florida summer heat, the humidity.
Oh, I know, with that humidity up through the roof, it's gonna be great.
I just got back from Florida. I don't want to go back ever again.
Oh dear God. Oh dear God.
Yeah. Once you live here your whole life, you get real used to it. So
that's just like anywhere. Yeah.
Well, there's no humidity in LA, and being in Florida my entire life and coming over here, it was awesome. But I didn't remember, or I've never really had to just be out of it for so long to jump right back into it. It was like getting off that plane. Me and my wife were like suffocating. Like, oh my God, it's so humid. Ugh.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm soaking wet. I'm not doing anything.
What? Yeah. I just looked to the left and now I'm soaked in sweat.
Yeah, up in Illinois, northern Illinois, southern Wisconsin, where we're from, we get humidity too. It's nothing like Florida, but we do have bits of humidity. So we're trained in humidity, but regardless, I will always pick dry heat over humidity. No offense, sorry, but it's just like that's I'll pick that.
That's right. We talk about this, and it's like right after this podcast, I'm going to go down and I have to set my drum set up in a warehouse that's not AC'd in Central Florida. So and then play later. So man. Yeah. It gets pretty brutal, but you know what I tell anybody or my bandmates, it's like, hey, it's the ultimate conditioning. I mean, you go, you do this, you practice in this condition, and then you hop in and do a show, and it's no big deal.
Oh, absolutely, it's an endurance test. You're shedding a lot of you're sweating it all out with that, so it's good. You get once you get used to it. That's how it is for me in Warped Tour. Like this first week is about to kick the living hell out of me. But after a week, I'm going to get up there and I'll have a fan and everything to help me out. But I should be fine. I'll be all acclimated to the weather and should be good to go from there. It takes about a week for me, though.
Yeah, I can imagine. Very cool. Well, I think we're getting pretty close to wrapping it up here. We spent a good amount of time with Steve here, and we do want to make sure we tell everybody that all of Steve's links for all of his social media, for the Color Morale, for him himself, will all be in our show notes. So make sure you look there to keep in touch with Steve and check out all of his really awesome groove videos, whether it be him messing with his hip-hop grooves or funk grooves or metal grooves or heck, I even saw some black metal stuff you're doing on there.
Oh, hell yes.
So, make sure everybody checks that out because it's cool stuff.
I be liking those funk videos, buddy. You're a little groove dog. It's awesome to
Oh,
watch.
thanks, man. Thanks, man. It's all that old school Motown that I was taught that's
Yep.
coming out of me.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah,
It's cool.
me and Kevin love that stuff. Yeah, man. Like Kevin said, all your social media stuff and contact info will be in the show notes. What I'd like to ask is if you'd like to shout anybody out, your sponsors, any friends, family, your bandmates, anybody. Now is the time.
Oh, geez. Well, I mean, we've already covered it. I mean, DW, Zildjian, Remo, Vic Firth, Freedom, and Ultimaneers are. They're to me I'm with those companies, not just because the whole with an endorsement you get gear and stuff like that, but I'm with those companies because those A&R people, the artist relations, that people that I work with those companies are some of the most genuine, heartfelt human beings that I know in this industry. And as much as there's a stereotype of everyone's kind of like cutthroat in the music business. It's like, well, it's kind of true. It's like there's not a lot of people that are like really genuine, actually care about the well-being of another fellow artist or just human in general. And all the props in the world to all those companies because it's just so easy talking to them. They actually care. They want not just for my well-being, but I talk to them about like just how to improve the music community, the drumming community, and it's just great being a part of those companies. I hope I can be a part of them for the rest of my career. And yeah, those people are great. And then just shout out to just you two. You two are fucking awesome guys. Thank you so much for wanting me to be a part of this. It really is an honor. And I've mentioned that I haven't done that many podcast interviews. So like the most nervous person on this phone right now is definitely me. So you two did a great interview. That was the most comfortable I could possibly have ever been. So thank you guys. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for the kind words, and thanks to you.
Nice
And it sounds excellent. I mean, you're very natural. So don't sell yourself short, Steve. You'll be able to do plenty more interviews in the future, and you'll nail it.
Oh, sure. Crossing my fingers on that one. Okay,
That's
cool.
Right. That's right.
Yes, and I will see you in California, man. We need to get together and do some drum videos of you while you're playing
damn
live.
straight.
Got to do it, man.
That would be great. We could totally make that happen, and that'll be. I think the California dates are later on.
Yeah, they're towards the end.
Yeah, towards the end. But yeah, it should be fun.
I'll text
Yeah,
you. We'll link it up. We'll make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Looking
we'll
forward to
definitely
it.
be in touch. And I look forward to hopefully seeing you within about a month's time. So, actually, no, wait. What am I talking about? It's the beginning of July. You're going to be in Orlando, right? Yeah. So that's like
a week or 2 weeks maybe.
Yeah. Hopefully, I'll see you in
that.
2 weeks then.
Oh, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be good to meet you in person for sure.
Yeah, likewise.
Awesome.
All right.
Well, I think that about wraps it up for all of us here.
Very cool.
I got to say thanks again, Steve, and thank you, Kevin. You guys have been awesome, and this couldn't have went any better. It really couldn't have. Seriously, thank you
Yeah,
guys.
this is great. Thank you.
No
Thanks
problem.
again, Steve, and thanks again, Richard. And I guess till next time. Ciao. All right.
Take
All
care,
right,
guys.
Till next time.
Take care.
All right, take care. Bye, guys.
Bye. So, there you have it. Our interview with Steve Carey of the Color Morale, making that episode number 8. Mark it in the books because we freaking did it, Kevin. I'm really excited about that interview. It had a lot of energy. Steve's an awesome guy. For it being like the first time we ever talked to him, ever, I think it went really smooth. It's just like three best friends having a chit-chat. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it went really well too, and our listeners didn't get to hear our pre-recording chat with Steve, but he definitely seemed like he was a little nervous, but I think I think we built that comfort with him, and I think it worked out really well. So
it didn't show. His nervousness didn't even show. I think he's
I don't think so either.
He sounded a lot more natural than I think he thought he did. So I'm sure Steve. You'll be happy to hear this, buddy. You'll like this one.
Definitely.
Yeah, man. It was really cool to kind of hear about their process for writing and how much time they put into the Desolate Divine. Right? Is that the name of the album? I named that right?
Yep.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, you got it right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, even especially after hearing that song and him breaking down how much time went into just finding that end riff for the song Walls. So that was pretty cool to hear.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed hearing him talk kind of about how he likes to use his cymbal work, or at least was proud that I acknowledged kind of how he uses those cymbals to really accent a lot of those vocal parts, and they kind of build their own kind of melodic voice in their music. So I think that was really cool to touch on, and definitely one of my favorite talking points. So it was really cool.
Yeah, man. Especially we're definitely in this. I mean, maybe it's me. I just think we're in this weird period of music right now where, there's so many different types of bands, so many similar bands. I used to feel like I could kind of predict what was going to happen next, and I really have no idea. Music could go left or right at this point, especially with the way metal has really. It's kind of hitting up first place, and the favorite factor, the heavier music, is what I see kids kind of corralling around more lately.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and even in the local South Florida area here, it seems like the scene is kind of starting to rejuvenate a little bit, and it seems like we always have these ebbs and flows. But it seems like people are down for some good music right now. So
beautiful way to put it, ebbs and flows.
Absolutely. But we're inching closer to the double digits on these episodes, so we're just excited to get some more out and hopefully get to that episode 10 and, get into that double digits. So, like always, make sure you try and leave us a rating and a review on iTunes, because it helps us, and it also helps other drummers find our podcast. So hopefully we can bring this to even more ears and help spread some good drumming talks with some good drummers out there.
Yeah, you guys heard it. The reviews, they mean the world. So let us know what you think, how you feel, what you want to hear. And, of course, as always, at Drummers I Like on Instagram and Twitter, and then also on YouTube, and then Facebook.com/Drummers I Like. If you haven't noticed, we've been pumping out a heavy content stream, and it's a lot of our own content, and it's a lot of our favorite drum streams content. And we really want to cultivate a great community here, and let everyone know that we're not all about ourselves here. We really love the drum community, and the only way we're going to thrive is if we do it together. So please make sure you follow us, follow our friends, and find me and Kevin on Facebook, Instagram, all the same pages. You know our names. And also check the show notes. We're going to have all the links for Steven and for the Color Morale in there. Steven, sorry. I could call you Steve. Sorry,
I like how you use the proper name.
Right. You know what? I'm looking at his name right now on the notes list, and it says Steven. And I read that. I don't know why. Whatever. You got it. But everybody, you know how to find us. We can't thank you enough again. And, we look forward to next week's episode. We're bringing on another great guest. I don't want to say who because I'm a little too excited to, and I want to play it safe. But, look forward to a great new guest next week. And once again, thank you guys so much for listening. And have a great day. Hey, Kevin, thanks again, man. Have a good night.
Hey, you too. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
What's up, Paul, man?
Shit.
Yeah, man, check this shit out, man. You know what I'm saying? I was at the club and I overheard some niggas talking, man. You know what I'm saying? Talk about how much they robbed this nigga for him. You know what I'm saying? I think we need to touch them fools. Man.
How much stuff them niggas get?
Man, they got a whole bunch of shit. They was just running their mouth, you know what I'm saying? I was just listening. I think we need to touch them fools.
If we can scope them niggas, we can do this shit right now. We can touch them niggas.
Check it out, my nigga. I'm gonna kill you anyway. You won't need none of this shit. Ran through the backyard, jumped the gate to the corner of the back street. Hopped into the steamer, tossed the fucking stats behind the seat. I'm coming to rush 'em, son, crush 'em, son, buck my gun. I'm gonna reach out and touch someone. I gotta touch 'em, I gotta touch 'em. in a hearse. Call me a player, hater, traitor, what you want, bitch. Strapped with them things on your ass, hit them guns, clicks inside job, strictly robbing, so you better beware. Other nigga woulda got it, mass raise them in the air.
Up and down for the killing as a youngster. I'm sticking these tricks up daily. I'm talking, I'm still a hustler. Cutting clips to make my snaps behind the barrel shooting craps. I hit it over the honeycomb to smoke a fucking pepper house. Hollering at my brother, feel D. I gotta get straight, no thing, man. He got me straight, that thing, fool be booming. Wait, hopping on my scooter with my C-Max and my deuce. All blue, jogging suit, saucy coochie truth. But now I'm getting older, coming clean is what I'm hoping. And now that I got both the dope pills of what I'm scoping, bitch, this is the touch.